Namaste, हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया. I am JVN Dr. Minakshi, Assistant Professor in Department of Shalakya Tantra, Faculty of Ayurvedic Science, Jyoti Vidya Peeth Women's University. So in the previous sessions, we were discussing about the disease glaucoma, its classification, then the first classification, the congenital development glaucomas, its types, then the primary development and congenital glaucoma, and which are termed as a newborn, infantile, and juvenile glaucoma. Then the prevalence and genetic pattern, the rare affecting, and 1 is to 10,000. 60% are boys, most cases are sporadic, and in 10% it is autosomal recessive. Gene loci is GLC3 on chromosome 2 and GLC38 on chromosome 1. Impaired aqueous outflow is caused by isolated trabecular dysgenesis. Then there is the pathogenesis of uh, this glaucoma, primary development or congenital glaucoma. The maldevelopment and trabeculum, including the iridotrabecular junction. Trabecular dysgenesis is responsible for impaired aqueous outflow, resulting in the raised intraocular pressure. The flat iris insertion is more common than the concave iris insertion. In it, the iris inserts flatly and abruptly into the thickened trabeculum, either at or anterior to the scleral spur, more often, or posterior to scleral spur. It is often possible to visualize a portion of the ciliary body and scleral spur. The next is the concave iris insertion. It is less common. In it, the superficial iris tissue sweeps over the iridotrabecular junction and the trabeculum, and thus obscures the scleral spur and ciliary body. Here's an image of the flat iris insertion and the concave iris insertion. Then the clinical features of the primary developmental or congenital glaucoma. One is the blepharospasm, photophobia, lacrimation. There is a triad, and you can see this in an image. The clinical features are photophobia, blepharospasm, lacrimation, and eye rubbing. These are classical triad, often occur together. They are thought to be caused by the irritation of corneal nerves, which occurs as a result of the elevated intraocular pressure. Photophobia is usually the initial sign, but it is not enough by itself to arouse suspicion in most cases. Um, the second are the corneal signs include its edema, corneal enlargement, and Descemet's break. The corneal edema, it is frequently the first sign which arouses suspicion. At first, it is epithelial, but later there is stromal involvement and permanent opacities may occur. Then the corneal enlargement, it occurs along with the enlargement of the globe, which is called a ophthalmos, especially when the onset is before the age of 3 years. Normal infant cornea measures 10.5 mm. A diameter of more than 13 mm confirms the enlargement. Prognosis is usually poor in infants with corneal diameter of more than 16 mm. Then the tears and breaks in the Descemet's membrane, half striae. These occur because Descemet's membrane is less elastic than the corneal stroma. Tears are usually peripheral and concentric with the limbus. Then the sclera. Sclera becomes thin and appears blue due to underlying uveal tissue. Anterior chambers become deep. Iris may show iridodonesis and atrophic patches in late stage. Lens becomes flat due to stretching of zonules and may even subluxate. Optic disc may show variable cupping and atrophy, especially after third year. IOP is raised, which is neither marked or nor acute. Axial myopia may occur because of increase in the axial length, which may give rise to anisometropic amblyopia. There is an image of the Haag striae. And then the examination or evaluation, a complete examination under general anesthesia should be performed on each child suspected of having congenital glaucoma. The examination should include the following: the measurement of IOP with shots or preferably handheld Perkins applanation tonometer, since scleral rigidity is very low in children. Then measurement of the corneal diameter by calipers. Then slit lamp examination. Then gonioscopic examination of the angle of anterior chamber reveals trabecular dysgenesis with either flat or concave iris insertion as described in the pathogenesis, and ophthalmoscopy to evaluate optic disc. Then comes the differential diagnosis. It is to be considered for different presenting signs as follows: the cloudy cornea, uh, large cornea, lacrimation, photophobia, raised intraocular pressure, optic disc changes. The cloudy cornea, in unilateral cases, the commonest cause is trauma with rupture of Descemet's membrane. It is called forceps injury. In bilateral cases, causes may be trauma, mucopolysaccharidosis, interstitial keratitis, and corneal endothelial dystrophy. The large cornea due to ophthalmos should be differentiated from megalocornea, and from lacrimation in an infant is usually considered to be due to the congenital nasolacrimal duct blockage, and thus early diagnosis of congenital glaucoma may be missed. Photophobia may be due to keratitis or uveitis, and raised IOP in infants may also be associated with retinoblastoma, retinopathy of prematurity, persistent primary hyperplastic vitreous, traumatic glaucoma, and secondary congenital glaucoma seen in rubella, aniridia, and Serge-Weber syndrome. Then the treatment of the congenital glaucoma. Uh, the medical treatment is not very effective, so treatment is primarily surgical. Whereas the IOP must be lowered by the use of hyperosmotic agents, acetazolamide, and beta blockers till surgery is taken up. And the contraindications of medications are mitotics increase the intraocular pressure, alpha 2 antagonistics, the brimonidine causes CNS depression in children. Then the surgical procedures for congenital glaucoma. Incisional angle surgery are the goniotomy and trabeculotomy, and the filtration surgery, the trabeculectomy with antimetabolites, combined trabeculectomy and trabeculotomy with antimetabolites, and third is the glaucoma drainage devices. The goniotomy internal approach, in this procedure, a Barkan's goniotomy knife is passed through the limbus on the temporal side. Under gonioscopic control, the knife is passed across the anterior chamber to the nasal part of the angle, and an incision is made in the angle of approximately midway between the root of iris and Schwalbe's ring through approximately 75 degree. The knife is then withdrawn. The first day is the intraoperative view of the eyes drainage system as a goniotomy is being performed, and second is the goniotomy, the removal of the surface layer of the drain. Next surgery is a trabeculotomy, which is external approach in which a direct passage is made between the canal of Schlems and anterior chamber. Usually useful when corneal clouding prevents the visualization of the angle, or in cases where goniotomy has failed. The canal of Schlemm is exposed at about 12 o'clock position by a vertical scleral incision after making a conjunctival flap and partial thickness scleral flap. The lower prong of Harm's trabeculotomy is passed along the Schlemm's canal on one side and the upper prong is used as a guide. Then the trabeculotomy is rotated so as to break the inner wall over 1/4 of the canal. This is when repeated on the other side. This is the technique of the trabeculotomy. The rest glaucomas we will discuss in the next session. Thank you so much. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you so much.
Westclaw code, and it is beneath the sclera. Then microscopic structure of choroid from out inwards. It is a suprachoroidal lamina. The suprachoroidal lamina is a thin membrane of condensed collagen, melanocytes, and fibroblast. The potential space between this layer and the sclera is called the suprachoroidal space. Second layer is the stroma of the choroid. It consists of loose collagenous tissue with some elastic and reticulum fibers containing pigment cells and plasma cells. In addition, vessels are found and are arranged in 3 layers. The first layer is a layer of large vessels, which is also called the Haller's layer. Second layer is a layer of medium vessels, the Sattler's layer. Third layer is a layer of choriocapillaries. And the third layer of choroid is the basal lamina. It is also called the Bruch's membrane and lines the layer of choriocapillaries. Here in this image you see the various layers of the choroid. And then comes the blood supply of the uveal tract. Actually the choroid is a part of the uvea or uveal tract. Blood supply are short posterior ciliary arteries and which are the branches of ophthalmic artery. It divides into 10 to 20 branches, pairs sclera around the optic nerve, supply choroid in segmental manner. And another artery will supply the uveal tract is long posterior ciliary arteries. There are 2 in number, nasal and temporal. They pierce the sclera. The anastomose with anterior ciliary arteries form major arterial circle, supply ciliary body. And then arteries will supply the uveal tract or anterior ciliary arteries. They are from the muscular arteries. They are 7 in number, 2 each for superior rectus, inferior rectus, medial rectus, and 1 from the lateral rectus. The anastomose with the LPCA. LPCA is the long posterior ciliary arteries. The circulus anterior, major, and minor. Then the venous drainage of the uveal tract, uveal tissue, the vena verticosa, the vortex veins or the posterior ciliary veins. They are 4 in number, superior temporal, inferior temporal, superior nasal and inferior nasal. They pierce sclera obliquely on each side of the superior rectus and inferior rectus muscles about 6 mm behind the equator. As you can see in the image, the blue color veins are the vortex veins. These are the venous drainage of the uvea. The 2 superior vortex veins open into the superior ophthalmic vein and the 2 inferior vortex veins open into the inferior ophthalmic vein. They both drain into cavernous sinus. Then last point is the functions of choroid. The blood supply to the outer 4 layers of retina and modulation of vascularization, regulate retinal heat, assist in the control of intraocular pressure, pigment absorbs the excess light, so avoid reflection. Thank you so much. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I will resolve it soon.